My name is Zack Jarrell. I'm driver of the number 18 Chevrolet in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series based out of New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Well, how I got interested in racing, I had close family members that lived up in New York. My aunt and uncle, my Uncle Ken and Aunt Vic, I was very close to them, and they were huge NASCAR fans. They loved Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte. And every time I went up there to visit them on vacation, they would be watching the races all the time. They would always be traveling to all the races, and I was always really young, and this had to have been mid-90s, and they were always rooting for Labonte and Earnhardt, but I didn't want to root for the same people they did, so they were like, you know, you should root for this new kid. He drives, the rainbow car, it's Jeff Gordon. So I just started rooting for him. And he was pretty good in the 90s. He won a ton of championships and races.
Winner of the Daytona 500, youngest driver to do it.
Checkers are out, and they are down, and it was Jeff Gordon victorious.
I think me picking Jeff Gordon as my favorite driver at a young age and him winning so much in the 90s kind of drove me to love the sport even more, because I actually was rooting for a winning driver, and my favorite driver was their winning driver. And through the years, my family and my friends even, they gave me little die-cast cars, little 1/24th scale, and I started my own collection. My aunt and uncle ended up bringing me to Charlotte, North Carolina, and my second race was the All-Star race. It was really awesome to be part of it, because Jeff Gordon was in that race. I remember being super excited watching my hero in real life. And I just remember how cool of an experience it was to hear the cars, not just on TV, but just to hear the cars and see the drivers and driver intros, waving to the fans. And it was more than just my superhero on TV now. Like, he actually existed. I just saw him.
They have called him Wonder Boy all year, and from now on it'll be one word: champion.
The older I got, it became a thing. Every time I went to one of these races, I went to the souvenir trailers, and I got the cars, and I got the shirts. And then I would wait around for the autograph sessions of each driver, and I would get them to sign all the hoods or the roofs of the cars, and then I would put them away. My aunt ended up getting sick. 2002, she ended up passing away. And I remember just before she passed away, she was always saying, Zach, you gotta drive. That'd be so cool if you got to drive. And years later, you never really gave it any thought. My parents got me a go-kart, kind of a backyard go-kart, just kind of mess around with. Meeting a few people that were involved in quarter midget racing. And they invited us to a race in New Smyrna Beach. So we lived in Orlando in the time, so we came over and we watched a race in New Smyrna. It was so cool. Like, there was hundreds of kids here racing these quarter midgets at 40, 50 miles an hour. And I just looked at my parents like, I want to do this. Like, this is awesome. And I guess they had already had a plan there with a guy that he had a car for sale, and they ended up buying a car that night. We accumulated a couple of other cars for different classes to get started in it. My parents went up to North Carolina, bought a racing trailer, moved down. They started really sacrificing. They had their dream home, and they sold their dream home to have the funds to start a small race team.
Since he's been 3 years old, that's all he's talked about. Eat it, sleep it, talked about it. And he had a dream, and so we just being good parents and helping his dream come true.
In the process of moving in 2005, we had movers and everyone, and we used our racing trailer to move all the big furniture and everything. I remember waking up around 6:30 to my parents just absolutely screaming. I remember running out of bed. I remember I was only in 7th grade, and they were screaming to the point of, it's gone, it's gone. And I'm like, what's gone? They're like, the whole trailer, look. And I looked in the driveway where it is, and it wasn't there. It was just totally gone. And it didn't even really click what was in it. The cops got there, were doing a police report, and that's when they started asking me, what did you have in it? That I started to realize all those years of collecting all those cars and all that, not even just the money, but the memories of getting it with my aunt and uncle and getting it with the rest of my family, and getting them signed by each driver and getting my picture taken with them, all that was gone. Not to mention, you know, childhood toys and stuff, and all my clothes. And I really only had basically the clothes in my back and my pajamas I was in because we were just going to unload it that morning. We lost so much. It was such a setback, and it was our introduction to the racing, you know, world, and we had a bad taste in our mouth.
Racing is anything but a party for Zack. He has had to work hard.
And that was October 2005. In November 2005, we ended up going up north to buy another trailer. I remember them sitting down and telling me, you know, we have a surprise for you. So the whole family, we all got in the car and we went to this house. I had no idea where it was.
This is proof once again, folks, that racing is a family sport.
There's a man standing there in a Hendrick Motorsports shirt. And he goes, "Oh, Zach, I've heard a lot about you." And like, I recognized the shirt and I really had no idea who he was. He was Jeff Gordon's helicopter pilot. He told me a little bit about how he had told Jeff what had happened on the way back from one of the races. Jeff felt horrible that happened and that he wanted me to continue my career and starting my career. That's when he stood me up and he walked me to the back of his house and he turned on the light, and his entire dining room table was filled with racing memorabilia. And he said that after Jeff Gordon had heard that had happened, he didn't want me to give up, and he heard that I lost my collection, and so he wanted to do his best to replenish what I had lost. After that, it made it definitely our mission. We were gonna continue racing. We were gonna start my racing career.
Yeah.
Jeff Gordon is about to write his name in the racing history book.
You know, we are very, very excited about his future.